The void of space stretched endlessly before Peter Harlan, a tapestry of distant stars and drifting debris. His salvage vessel, the Scavenger's Respite, hummed softly as it navigated through the treacherous expanse known as the Void Sector. This remote region of space was littered with asteroid fragments, derelict ships, and the remnants of ancient battles, a cosmic graveyard that few dared to explore. Peter preferred it that way. The 30-year-old salvage pilot had chosen isolation over connection for the past 6 years, finding solace in the cold emptiness of space rather than the complicated warmth of human interaction. Born on a rim planet but raised in the bustling core worlds, he had developed a particular set of skills: piloting, basic repairs, and a remarkable ability to avoid political entanglements. Yet beneath his stoic exterior lay painful memories. The bloody accident that claimed his mother's life, his father's subsequent charge of treason and sacrifice. These wounds had driven him to the Void Sector, where bureaucratic oversight was minimal and a person could disappear among the stars. The ship's communication system crackled suddenly, interrupting his thoughts. Peter had just completed a routine salvage mission and was preparing to report back to base before departing, but an unexpected distress signal caught his attention. The SOS code didn't match any recognized rescue protocol in the system database. Its pattern was unlike anything he'd encountered, possibly from generations ago. Protocol dictated that he should report the anomaly and continue on his way. Unauthorized intervention could result in severe penalties. Yet, something about this signal tugged at him, a pull that transcended mere curiosity or potential profit. It felt like a summons, awakening something dormant within him. "This is probably going to be a mistake," he muttered, adjusting his course toward the signal's origin. The rational part of his mind warned against this detour, but a deeper instinct propelled him forward. As the respite approached the coordinates, Peter's breath caught in his throat. Drifting silently in the void was a spacecraft unlike any he had ever seen. Its architecture defied modern engineering principles, with an organic, spiraling structure that seemed to flow rather than be constructed. Strange glyphs were etched into its hull, and despite its apparent age and damage, faint energy pulses still emanated from within. Peter hesitated, his hand hovering over the navigation controls. If he turned back now, he would never know what secrets the ancient vessel contained. But if he proceeded, he might be stepping into danger beyond his imagination. "If I don't go in there, I'll regret it forever," he decided, maneuvering the respite alongside the mysterious craft and initiating docking procedures. The magnetic locks engaged with a solid thunk, creating a secure seal between the vessels. Peter donned his environment suit, checked his oxygen levels, and grabbed a portable scanner. With a deep breath, he opened the airlock and stepped into the unknown. The interior of the derelict ship was twice as spacious as his salvage vessel. Dim emergency lights flickered intermittently, casting eerie shadows along curved corridors that twisted like seashells. The air was thin, carrying a metallic tang mingled with a strange, almost organic scent. The bulkheads seemed to pulse occasionally, reflecting light in patterns that gave the unsettling impression of a living structure. Peter's scanner detected minimal life signs, just 0.03 on the scale, well below the standard threshold of 0.5 required to confirm survival. Still, something was alive in here, barely clinging to existence. He followed the reading through the labyrinth of emergency-lit passages until he reached a circular chamber with a slightly tilted floor. In the center, upon a raised platform, lay a wolf-like creature curled into a defensive arc. It was massive, roughly the size of a bear, with silver metallic fur that seemed to capture and reflect the sparse light. Its breathing was shallow and labored, its form trembling slightly with each exhale. Peter approached cautiously, his scanner confirming that this was indeed the source of the weak life signature. The creature's fur was matted in places, its body showing signs of injury or extreme deprivation. Around it, hovered a faint aura of blue-violet energy that seemed to pulse in rhythm with its ragged breathing. The SOS signal is still active, but you don't look like you'll last much longer, Peter whispered, his voice loud in the chamber's silence. Despite the potential danger, he felt compelled to move closer. Kneeling beside the platform, he tentatively reached out and placed his hand on the creature's flank. The moment his fingers contacted the metallic fur, a resonant vibration coursed through him. He felt his blood warming instantly, a sensation like electricity flowing from the point of contact throughout his entire body. The wolf's eyes snapped open, revealing orbs that resembled miniature galaxies, ancient light swirling within depths of unfathomable darkness. In that moment of connection, Peter experienced something beyond simple communication. He felt the creature's pain, its cosmic loneliness, its desperate plea for help. The sensation was overwhelming, more intimate than any conversation he'd ever had. Peter's scanner indicated no biological functions beyond the faint breathing pattern. Whatever this being was, it was starving, but not in any conventional sense he understood. Acting on instinct. He reached into his suit pocket and retrieved a nutrition pack, the standard paste issued to space travelers for long journeys. He tore it open and held it near the wolf's muzzle. The creature's nostrils flared weakly as it caught the scent. With tremendous effort, it raised its head and began to consume the offering. Each swallow seemed to require enormous concentration, its body trembling with the exertion of simply eating. Peter cradled the wolf's head gently, continuing to feed it spoonful by spoonful until the pack was empty. He had 3 more in his suit, which he offered in succession, aware that he was depleting his own emergency rations. Yet, he couldn't stop. Something compelled him to continue, a connection forming that transcended rational thought. As the wolf consumed the final portion, its head slumped momentarily before an unexpected surge of energy coursed through its form. A blinding light erupted from where Peter's hand touched the creature's flank, spreading throughout the chamber and reactivating dormant systems within the ancient ship. Peter found himself unable to withdraw his hand, his entire body paralyzed as energy flowed between them. The light intensified, becoming almost unbearable to witness. The wolf's form began to shift and elongate, its skeletal structure rearranging itself in a fluid metamorphosis that defied biological understanding. When the light finally dimmed, where the wolf had lain now sat a humanoid woman. She was tall, approximately 5'9", with perfect posture and skin bearing a slight silvery sheen. Her hair was silver gray, cascading down her back, and her face possessed elegant features that maintained subtle, lupine characteristics, slightly elongated canines, slightly pointed ears, and those same cosmic eyes of swirling silver gray that seemed to contain entire universes. "I am Rhea," she said, her voice melodic, yet carrying a hint of an otherworldly resonance. "In your language, the fuller name would be Riella. You have saved me, human." Peter stared in astonishment, his hand still tingling from the connection. What just happened?" Bonding," Rhea explained, her voice growing stronger with each word. "My people, the Valeth, enter a conservation form when near death. What you saw is the wolf. It preserves our essence until we can find someone worthy of bonding." She studied him intently. "You gave me sustenance when I was dying. The energy transfer completed the bonding ritual. We are now connected." Peter suddenly became aware of heightened sensations flooding his consciousness. His hearing had sharpened dramatically. He could detect the faint hum of the ship's ancient systems through the silence. His vision had expanded to perceive electromagnetic fields around the machinery. Even his sense of smell had intensified. The metallic tang of the ship's interior, now layered with complex undertones, he couldn't have detected before. "I can sense your thoughts," Rhea said softly. "Your loneliness, it matches my own. You've been isolated for years, seeking freedom from a universe that feels indifferent to your existence. Before Peter could respond, a warning light flashed on his scanner. With newfound acuity, he instantly recognized the danger. 3 Dominion warships had entered tracking range, closing in fast. "They've detected our energy signature," he said, alarmed. "The bonding must have created some kind of traceable pulse." Rhea's expression hardened. "Dominion ships. They've hunted my kind for generations. We must flee immediately." They rushed back to the respite, Rhea moving with fluid grace despite her recent transformation. Once aboard, Peter initiated emergency departure procedures, disengaging from the ancient vessel just as the first Dominion ship came into visual range. "Head for the asteroid field," Rhea instructed, her fingers dancing across the ship's console with unexpected familiarity. "This vessel has been modified beyond its apparent capabilities. The secondary thrusters have a 20% higher output than standard specifications." Peter looked at her in surprise. "How could you possibly know that?" "The bonding allows me to interpret your ship's systems," she explained, "just as it allows you to perceive at levels beyond normal human capacity." The respite accelerated toward a dense field of asteroids, each the size of a small building. Peter's enhanced reflexes guided the ship through impossible gaps, narrowly avoiding collision after collision as energy blasts from the pursuing Dominion vessels superheated the space around them. "We can't outrun them forever," Peter said, executing a daring roll between 2 converging asteroids. "We don't need to," Rhea replied, activating a hidden interface on the ship's console. "Your ship has cloaking capabilities that even you weren't aware of. Previous modifications by someone who knew exactly what they were doing." The console illuminated with unfamiliar symbols that somehow, through their connection, Peter could now interpret. The respite's engines hummed at a different frequency as a cloaking field engaged, masking their energy signature from the Dominion sensors. The pursuers halted their advance, scanning fruitlessly as the respite slipped deeper into the asteroid field and eventually beyond tracking range. "They'll be back," Rhea said gravely. "That was merely a scouting party. We need to understand what this bonding truly means, why it has made us targets, and what power it has awakened within us both." Peter nodded, his mind reeling from the day's events. In the span of hours, his solitary existence had been irrevocably shattered. He was now connected to this enigmatic being, pursued by hostile forces, and awakened to abilities he never knew existed. For the first time in years, he felt something beyond his carefully maintained isolation, a purpose, a connection, and the unsettling realization that his life would never be the same again. Their momentary reprieve was short-lived. After evading the initial 3 warships, Peter and Rhea found themselves cornered in a small pocket of space, with a Dominion command vessel deploying an energy net that immobilized the respite. Special Forces troopers boarded swiftly, separating the pair and transporting them to the command ship. Peter found himself in a stark interrogation chamber, face to face with Admiral Corrin, a small, statured man with pallid skin whose voice resonated with surprising power. His collar gleamed with metals, and his cold eyes assessed Peter with calculating precision. "Who are you?" Corrin demanded. "And how did you establish a Valeth bond?" Peter remained silent, but Rhea, restrained nearby, spoke defiantly. "I only protect my own kind, nothing more." Corrin's thin lips curved into a smile devoid of warmth. He activated a holographic display showing a complex genetic sequence. "Peter Harlan, son of Dr. Elena Harlan and pilot Jacob Harlan. You carry the primary genetic marker from Project Bonded Warriors." The words struck Peter like physical blows. Corrin continued mercilessly. "Your parents were brilliant scientists. They developed the foundation for creating human Valeth hybrids, super soldiers capable of channeling Valeth abilities. But they developed a conscience, attempted to sabotage their own work. The Dominion deemed them traitors and arranged their accident 12 years ago." Peter's mind reeled with shock. the crash that killed his mother and led to his father's disgrace. It had been engineered. "You're lying," he managed to say, though doubt gnawed at him. "You were designed as a weapon." "Harlan," Corrin continued, "your genetic structure was specifically tailored to form a bond with a Valeth. We lost track of you after your father's execution, but now you've fulfilled your purpose anyway." The Admiral stepped closer. "Join us. Help us control the Valeth threat. You'll have purpose, power, protection. Continue your parents' work, the real work, not their misguided attempt to derail progress." Peter felt his soul darkening with each revelation. His years of isolation seemed not just meaningless, but manufactured, another part of a design he never consented to. Was he nothing more than a weapon? Did he have any right to an independent existence? The temptation to accept Corrin's offer lurked in his mind. Perhaps he could protect Valeth like Rhea, while following Dominion's rules, securing safety for both of them. Yet, when he looked at Rhea, saw the trust in her cosmic eyes despite their dire situation, something solidified within him. Whatever he had been designed to be, he could choose who he would become. Before he could respond, alarms blared throughout the command vessel. The lights flickered, and a powerful explosion rocked the ship. The interrogation room door burst open to reveal a tall, elegant Valeth woman with a stern, weathered face. "I am Seraphine," she announced, her voice carrying authority that brooked no argument. "And we're leaving now." Behind her stood several human Valeth pairs, each moving in perfect synchronization, wearing specialized helmets that seemed to bend light around them. They dispatched the guards with swift, non-lethal precision. "The Valeth resistance has infiltrated the command ship," Seraphine explained, as she freed Peter and Rhea from their restraints. "We've been monitoring unregistered bondings across the galaxy. Yours created quite a ripple." They fled through corridors filled with disabled security systems and unconscious guards. Corrin's furious voice echoed through the ship's communication system, ordering his troops to prevent their escape at all costs. Seraphine led them to a hidden shuttle bay, where a cloaked resistance vessel awaited. "We've gathered nearly 70 bonded pairs throughout the galaxy," she explained, as they boarded. "Our headquarters is at Nebula's grave, inside the mouth of a collapsed black hole. The Dominion can't track us there." As the resistance ship broke away from the command vessel, Peter made his decision. "I know who I am now," he told Rhea and Seraphine. "I won't turn away. I'll help you save the Valeth." Rhea took his hand, her eyes reflecting starlight. "We are partners now. Family. Strong even when they try to weaponize who we are." The resistance vessel activated its cloaking technology and accelerated toward the collapsed black hole, carrying them toward a future that neither had imagined possible mere hours before. Nebula's grave revealed itself as a marvel of ingenuity, a resistance base nestled within the gravitational sweet spot of a collapsed star. The intense gravitational field masked their presence from Dominion sensors, while combined Valeth technology and human engineering created a habitable zone within what should have been a death trap. The base housed over 70 bonded pairs and approximately 150 individuals, including unbonded Valeth children too young for the process. The central gathering hall was a semicircular chamber filled with interactive 3D displays showing maps of Valeth detention camps scattered throughout the galaxy. The atmosphere blended tension and hope. Everyone awaited a plan that could reverse their fortunes. Seraphine addressed the assembled resistance members, with Torres, Kale, Jake, and Zara seated in prominent positions. "Our new arrivals have accelerated our timeline," she announced. "The Dominion now knows that spontaneous bondings are occurring. They will increase their efforts to capture or eliminate all remaining Valeth." She activated a central hologram displaying an imposing space station. "This is Nexus Station, the Dominion's military intelligence hub. It coordinates their entire fleet and serves as a stopover point for all attack waves. Our intelligence indicates they're preparing a final solution weapon targeting Valeth genetic signatures. Torres, a one-eyed former naval commander with an advanced optical implant, stood to explain the plan. Rather than launching a frontal assault against superior forces, we'll create a simulated network collapse at Nexus. This will force Emperor Vex, whom you know as Admiral Corrin, to personally investigate. When he descends to the station, we'll be waiting. Peter, who had been processing his new reality, found his internal conflict diminishing. The choice to stand with the Resistance felt increasingly right as he learned more about the Dominion's systematic persecution of the Valeth. His bond with Rhea had deepened into something profound. They weren't merely allies, but shared a connection that transcended ordinary partnerships. During the following days, Peter and Rhea trained intensively with other bonded pairs. They learned to harness veiled cloaking, the ability to mask their bond's energy signature from Dominion sensors. Jake and Zara taught them techniques for disabling laser barriers, while Torres and Kale instructed them in defensive maneuvers. Seraphine herself demonstrated Valeth energy manipulation techniques, rapid movement, localized invisibility, and energy projection. The plan crystallized. Peter would infiltrate Nexus Station's communication hub and activate a Ghost Protocol, a series of hidden commands that would sever the connection between Vex and his fleet. But only when Vex had just arrived from hyperspace. The strike team organized into units: Infiltration Team, Peter and Rhea. Direct access to the communication hub to cut the military network. Support Team, Torres and Kale. Seal all security doors, preventing reinforcements from responding. Seraphine's strike force. Ambush Vex when he arrived at the docking bay. As they prepared to depart, Peter and Rhea sat in the cockpit of the Resistance vessel, studying the Nexus schematics one final time. The soft indicator lights illuminated their focused expressions. "Do you think I can do this?" Peter asked quietly. Rhea's cosmic eyes met his. "You've overcome so much already. We are one now." The journey to Nexus required precise navigation. They masked their bond signature by skirting the gravitational field of a dead planet, using its pull to temporarily hide their energy trace. Peter's enhanced senses detected distant escort ships that hadn't yet activated their weapon systems. The Resistance vessel departed the gravitational field and descended toward Docking Bay 7, a zone designated for commercial vessels. Their falsified credentials identifying them as a supply ship were approved without thorough inspection, a testament to the complacency that had infected the Dominion's security protocols. Inside Nexus Station, tension mounted as Peter and Rhea made their way through maintenance tunnels toward the communication hub. Each step brought them closer to either victory or capture. The station's immense size, a sprawling web of corridors, security checkpoints, and monitoring systems, made their progress painstakingly slow. Finally, reaching the communication hub, they waited for Torres and Kale to disable the exterior security grid. When the signal came, they moved swiftly. Rhea plugged a Valeth device into the control panel, initiating the ghost shutdown that erased all login credentials. Red lights flashed as screens dimmed, and internal communication systems failed, severing Vex's connection to his command fleet. 2 guards appeared unexpectedly, but Rhea used a veil flash to momentarily blind them, allowing Peter to incapacitate them without lethal force. Simultaneously, Torres and Kale disabled the laser barriers and sealed all security doors surrounding the communication hub, preventing Dominion troops from sending reinforcements. Aboard his personal vessel, Vex received reports of Nexus Station's network collapse. Suspecting sabotage rather than technical failure, he ordered his escort squadron to investigate immediately. Meanwhile, Seraphine and the bonded pairs took position in the docking bay, where Vex would necessarily descend before leaving his ship. They employed phase shift veil techniques and localized EMP bursts to neutralize all security systems in the area. When Vex finally appeared, surrounded by elite guards, he wore black armor and a featureless, silver-inlaid mask. His voice echoed through the station's speaker system. "Peter Harlan, what do you think you're doing? Kill me. And you're still far from victory. You are my creation. Do you have the strength to stand against your maker?" Peter stood before Vex, meeting the soulless eyes behind the mask. "I am not your creation. I choose freedom for them, for myself." The confrontation reached its climax as Peter suddenly raised his hand, activating the hidden hacked protocol that disabled all heavy equipment Vex carried: energy weapons, mechanical arms, and enhanced armor. Vex stared in disbelief as his weapons ceased functioning. Rhea launched forward, unleashing a Ukul-veiled strike, a combination of partial invisibility and an electromagnetic veil punch that sent Vex staggering backward. His handheld weapon shattered, and he stumbled to the floor. Seraphine and the other bonded pairs surged into the docking bay, systematically neutralizing the guards without killing them. Their primary target was Vex himself. At the height of the confrontation, Seraphine delivered a veil shatterwave that cracked Vex's mask, revealing an aged, frightened face beneath. What are you?" Vex gasped. "Why can't I destroy you?" Peter stepped forward and placed his hand on Vex's chest. Two bonded souls, human Valeth, touching. In that moment, Vex collapsed as all the technology within him was neutralized by Peter's bond-enhanced abilities. The immediate aftermath brought chaos to the Dominion fleet. Without their central command, ship captains received only broadcast failure messages on their command screens. All signals to other planets were cut. The escort fleet floundered in confusion, with many vessels attacking each other in the resulting fog of war. Dominion ship captains vied for authority, most simply repeating old orders to eliminate the Valeth without clear direction. Many ships returned to the core worlds, seeking Vex, while others withdrew from the void sector entirely, creating openings for the Resistance to expand. With Vex captured, the Resistance transmitted liberation orders across the galaxy. Other bonded pairs began armed operations to help Valeth escape from detention camps, bringing them to Nebula's grave. Thousands of Valeth, including children who had not yet bonded, were transported safely to the final refuge. Peter had decisively rejected his designed purpose as a weapon. When Vex fell unconscious, Peter chose not to kill him, instead turning him over to the Resistance for justice. This action affirmed his humanity. "I am not a soulless killer. I choose to live for freedom, for my love of Rhea." He volunteered to remain at Nebula's grave, training younger bonded pairs and supporting plans to rebuild Valeth communities on multiple planets. Rhea affirmed her feelings and commitment. "You are half of my heart. We have become a new soul together." She outlined their future path. "We will help the Valeth rebuild society, reconstruct civilization based on symbiosis with humans, not hiding from them." Nebula's grave bustled with activity, as 3D displays showed resettlement routes to dozens of planets, each location destined to host at least one Valeth settlement. Bonded pairs would serve as bridges for cultural and technological exchange. Peter and Rhea stood by the docking bay, watching ships carrying migrant groups depart. Their eyes reflected hope and responsibility for the future they were helping to create. "Finally, I'm not alone anymore," Peter thought to himself. "I have a family, both human and Valeth." Rhea placed her hand on Peter's chest. "We will dissolve the boundaries between our species, letting love and freedom shine like starlight." Throughout the vast universe, the hum of the New Dawn fleet resonated rhythmically, heralding an era where humans and Valeth would together write the next chapter of their magnificent dream. The days following Vex's capture brought unprecedented change throughout the galaxy. With the Dominion's command structure in disarray, resistance cells activated on dozens of worlds. Each successful liberation of a Valeth detention camp strengthened their numbers and resolve. At Nebula's grave, Peter's role evolved beyond what he could have imagined. His unique bond with Rhea made them particularly effective teachers for newly formed pairs. Together, they developed training protocols that helped others harness their combined abilities without the destructive focus the Dominion had intended. The connection isn't about becoming a weapon, Peter explained to a group of recent arrivals. It's about synthesis, becoming something greater than either species could be alone. Rhea demonstrated energy manipulation techniques, showing how human creativity combined with Velith precision created possibilities neither race had previously conceived. The Dominion feared this potential, she told them. Not because we threatened them, but because true symbiosis makes control impossible. Seraphine led the political reorganization, establishing a council of both bonded and unbonded representatives. When some suggested pursuing revenge against remaining Dominion outposts, she firmly rejected the proposal. We will not become what we fought against, she declared. Our purpose is creation, not destruction. Peter discovered that his childhood on the Rimworlds and years in the core had given him unique insight into both cultural spheres. This perspective proved valuable when designing integration plans for Velith communities on human-populated planets. Isolation kept us alive, he told the council, but connection will let us thrive. The captured Vex was held in a secure facility, his technological enhancements permanently disabled. Rather than executing him, the Resistance chose a different path, using his extensive knowledge to dismantle remaining Dominion power structures from within. His testimony, broadcast throughout the galaxy, revealed centuries of systematic persecution and genetic experimentation that turned public opinion against the regime he had served. 6 months after the Nexus Station confrontation, the first joint human-Velith settlement was established on a terraformed moon, orbiting a peaceful agricultural world. Peter and Rhea attended the founding ceremony, watching as children of both species played together without fear or prejudice. This is what my parents would have wanted, Peter said quietly. Not weapons, but harmony. Rhea squeezed his hand. They would be proud of what you've become, what we've become together. That night, beneath alien stars, they discussed their next mission. Intelligence reports indicated a remote Dominion research facility where the final solution weapon was still under development. Despite the regime's collapse, fanatics remained determined to complete the project. One more challenge, Peter sighed, studying the facility schematics. One more step toward lasting peace, Rhea corrected him. And we won't face it alone. The Resistance ship that departed Nebula's grave the following morning carried not just Peter and Rhea, but a coalition of bonded pairs representing 12 different planetary systems. Their destination was uncertain, their mission dangerous, but they moved forward with the unshakable confidence of those who had discovered their true purpose. As the vessel accelerated into hyperspace, Peter reflected on how completely his life had transformed. The lonely salvage pilot who once sought only isolation had found connection beyond imagining. The weapon designed for destruction had become an instrument of creation. The cosmic wolf starving in a derelict ship had awakened something within him that transcended genetic engineering, something authentically human. The stars stretched into brilliant streaks around their ship, carrying them toward whatever challenges awaited. But whatever the future held, they would face it together, bound not by design or destiny, but by choice. Throughout the vast universe, the boundaries between what was human and what was Velith continued to blur, creating something entirely new, something that shone with the brightness of a newborn star.